yeah, today we got art stream time, so just a little bit of, you know, taking some creative time, and we're gonna work on, you know, probably just some character sketches because that's fun. We're just gonna have some fun. I do wanna draw this character that you see on the top right in this reference picture there today because that character looks awesome and I kind of want to just try drawing that. I got a bigger picture of them on my second monitor so that I have a good reference. But you know, you have the source right there so that you can look and see from who that character is. So you know, go to satogamedev.io to go where the character comes from. And I'll just quickly give you a bigger look at the thing. There you go. Okay, this preview is a little bit pixelated, but you know, you get the idea. Anyway, and then I'm gonna shrink it down again, like so. Okay. So that's the first character that we're gonna draw today, or maybe the second character, because I'm just gonna draw some nonsense character, whoever, just to get a little bit of practice in and to get warmed up. So let's start with something simple and friendly. Person doing a thumbs up. Bigger grin. Yeah, something like that. That head shape is totally awful. Dear God, I am rusty at this. I need to draw more. Alright, let's give you a big chunky nose, like this. And some fluffy hair. We like some fluffy hair. Okay, this particular direction of stroke is really wobbly for me. I need more practice of that particular direction. The thing I'm usually good at is fast, quick. Whoops, there's a number. Why did I want to enter a number? Anyway, is kind of bold and fast strokes, which is usually very practical, but if you are not warmed up, I guess they turn out very bad, I suppose. Alright. We will also just completely put this in the background and then draw over it once more, I think. This jagged line here is not okay. That's better. Don't need the outfit to be too complicated, just something very simple. And after we got a little bit of practice in, we will continue to the actual object of today. But I want to get a little bit more practice in before we get to someone else's character, because I don't want to quite mess it up so badly. Let's do this one quick with a bucket fill. Alright, back to the brush. Okay, your neck needs to be a little bit bigger, and we're gonna have to move your head down quite a bit. So select your lasso tool. No. Like so. so. Move. Yeah, like that. That's much better. Then we go deselect all. No, okay, those ibex are actually not good on this particular person. Yes, Krita, indeed, yes. This is on Android, and to be fair, Krita is just a very good, very powerful, and very free tool. I've done my work on. Okay, no, this looks awful. No, probably like so. Right, much better. God damn it, why is my hand so jittery today? Okay, this hand is just not gonna look right. We're gonna ignore that hand. Let me just quickly practice this real quick again. Right, here goes finger, 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 there we go. Thumb here. Hand no problem. Why hand hard then? Why when hand no problem? I also like the fact that Krita comes from the Linux community, particularly from the KDE software package. So this is all open source and you can technically make your own little changes to the program in any way you want, if you want to. So that's pretty powerful and stuff. Alright, let's do one last thing just for practice before we get to the real deal, and that is just do some very basic black and white monochrome shading on this hair. And that is all bucket fillable, I think. There we go. I personally really like the pixel art tools, cause for some reason it just doesn't look right for me when the brushes are anti-aliased. I know that this means that we have a lot of very jagged edges in the drawing, but to be quite fair, I don't care that much, and I'd rather have it look good from, you know, zoomed out far away, than it being kind of smooth when you zoom in. But that's just a matter of preference anyway. Then we should be good to flood fill this as well. Yes, there we go. I'm gonna add in this bit here though. Yeah, this one is just gonna be very, very simple. We're also gonna add in a little bit of a separation line down here. And then flat fill that. And connect this line over there and this line over here. And then we flat fill that. Perfect. Okay, this area is so small we don't even need to flat fill it. We can just manually close in this one. Alright, we got a little bit of hair. I should add a little bit of specular highlights over here though. I think that makes it look a little bit better. I mean, I know this is just somewhere in between complete mess of a sketch and proper drawing, but I think we're gonna leave it right here. No, let's give him proper arms. We're gonna leave his hands as it is, but we're gonna give him a little bit noodly, tiny arms, like so. I think that is fair. And the legs we're just gonna completely ignore. Let's just completely ignore the fact that he has legs. Let's just cut off the drawing right here and pretend like it doesn't exist. Alright, so that's our drawing numero uno done for today. It's just a little warm-up sketch. Let's, I suppose, hold on. There's still something down here somewhere. Just to be clear, let's clear that. Then let's deselect, and now let's scale that image up. There we go. That's our finished drawing number one. Just some random guy. Which is exactly what we like to do here. You know what? I'll even save it. I'll even give it the benefit of saving. Give me a PNG. We'll call it random guy.png. Save that. Yes, please. Then we go to the actual thing. Alright, let me also... Something that I completely forgot is to mention that we went live. Hold on. Aha. Okay, hold on, I need to do a thing. Very quickly. Copy link, there you go. Then you go over here. Paste. Okay, and then we go over here as well. Well, no, this automatically posts the thing, that's good. And let's also post the thing quickly on the blue sky. Message, please. There you go. Add stream now. Exclamation point. Post. Okay, there we go. Now we did all of the socials. You know how it is. Okay. I shall open this one in a new tab even, so that I can see it even bigger. There we go. Okay, let's start with a cool pose. Hold on. So this character, it is kind of cropped out in the image that you see on screen, but she does have a stun gun, so we're probably gonna put her in some kind of pose where she's posing with the gun or something like that. Let's quickly think up a pose. Hold on, I'm still on the eraser. Okay, that is a terrible circle. That is a better circle. Right. Let's do something like bleh. My lines are so wiggly today. Okay, something like this. This. She's holding the gun here. With this hand. Hold on, let me quickly see how the gun looks like just to get the rough shape in. Okay, so it's somewhat like this. Come on, it's not quite it. What? No keyboard, please. Okay, something like this. And then her second arm is gonna be here. And it's gonna be on this as well. Right. She's gonna be leaning in this direction, obviously. Twisted and turned to that direction. We're gonna give her quite a bit of a neck, and then like so. No, she has actually not shoulders like that at all, so we're not gonna do that. Alright. Right, the feet are supposedly not gonna be visible, I guess. Okay, that's live. Alright, we're gonna go straight ahead and opacity that down to hardly any visibility. We're also gonna probably put the head slightly more down actually. Let's start with the hair, I think. Hold on. My fast, quick strokes are not working today. Jesus Christ. That's much better. Okay. Dear God, I'm just trying to make a swoopy line. Hello! Hello, hello, welcome! I'm trying to make silly, normal, straight up lines, and they come out terrible. And I hate my hands. My hands are being assholes right now. Look at this, this is not supposed to be as straight as this, it's supposed to be curvy like this. Hand, do the correct line. There you go, that's a good line. Alright, so you know what, just to fix this a little bit, we're just gonna, to make this a little bit easier to calculate in my head, let's put the head where it actually belongs. Alright, now she's got long but wild and bushy hair. Right, we're gonna also put the eyes over in this direction here. Yes. I don't even know where you got that emoji from, but that is a very specific one, I suppose. At least now my hands are behaving in the way that they should. I say and then they fuck up immediately. Alright, that isn't... That... Ah. So this is an official Twitch emoji, huh? Okay, let's give her stern, serious eyebrows. Yeah, no, I get it. The Twitch website thing is garbage for chat because it suddenly pretends like you didn't already type a word and suddenly you can't go back on the word and it's all weird and stuff. I know what you're talking about. Like it just straight up pretends that what you've written already isn't there. And then you type it twice and it's weird. Alright. But honestly, that's still more readable than the, you know, the really weird fucked up typing quirks. You know, the ones. I'd go on record as saying, to be honest, that yeah, that's a very valid point, for example. But I will even say that Gamzee is a very bad one. Yes, yes, absolutely. Now to fuck everything up. Alright, let's give her more hair. So she has big, long, bushy hair. Wild. Which means I gotta draw bold, wild, untethered strokes that don't confine to society. No, that's terrible. Bush did 9/11, that is historically accurate, yes. You know what, I did today actually have a dream where I not accidentally, where I very intentionally made a 9/11 joke. And I don't know how much sense it made in the context. But to be honest, all 9/11 jokes are per se, per default, funny. And what's especially funny about 9/11 jokes is when Americans get upset like it's the only bad thing to ever happen, and they are like really upset because no, 9/11 is the worst thing, you can't joke about that, and meanwhile they are invading countries left, right and center right now. So like, I don't know, maybe check your own agenda first. Okay, I know she doesn't have ears on this image, but I like giving characters ears. Ears are fun, so we're gonna give her ears. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm being unreasonable by giving her ears, but I think like ears are nice. Alright, now I gotta really pay good attention, because, hold on, let me quickly zoom in a little bit more here. Right. If we look at this, her arms are kind of strong. I kind of want to get that muscliness across. So we gotta pay extra attention to not give her the noodliest of noodle arms. Alright. Why did I choose an action pose? Like, why do I make myself suffer in such ways? Okay. So first things first. She gets her shirt thing. Oh god, my hands are so jittery today. I don't know why today in particular my hands are so jittery. I suppose this is a sign that this is just in general not a good day for drawing, but I don't care. I have scheduled today an art stream like a week ago already. I cannot just predict, oh, today will be a good day for hands. Today my hands will be good to me and kind. Sometimes you just have days where your hands are like shaky bakey wakey. Like, look at how jittery these lines are. This is supposed to be a straight line here. And meanwhile I go like... Anyway. I don't always draw this jittery, just to clarify this. I could put on a stabilizer, but that will just introduce so much latency and then the line will not be where I want it to be, and it will be a whole different struggle. I'd rather my hand just do what I tell it to. Right. So now comes the weird part. Low stabilizers are good. You know what? You do have a point, because this line is so jittery. So jittery. Also, I didn't quite fill in those eyelashes and eyebrows. You know what? I'm just gonna embrace it, to be honest, for this drawing. That part of it is just very jittery. It still looks good. Just, it looks like, I don't know, I was a 5-year-old drawing it. Which I am not. I don't know if you can recognize that from my voice, but I am not actually 5 years old. So where do I put... Hold on, let me Google this, because I forgot where the stabilizers in Krita are. Stabilizer. You're right. Where do I find the stabilizer? When you active freehand brush tool, you would have stabilizer options in the tool options docker. There we go. Brush smoothing stabilizer. Alright, how does it... Whoa, that is way too much. Give me 7. Okay, that is also way too much. Delay. 6 pixels. Okay, I can draw with this, I think. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I also use the Twitch app. That is honestly just way better. And you know, you can keep the stream running in the background or something like that. That makes the app just very usable. Okay, well, since we are already this far, I'm not gonna draw the entire thing from the start again. I'm just gonna keep drawing where I'm at now. Alright. Okay, now what is happening is I'm giving her noodle arms. And I still gotta reduce the delay. I'm sorry, but we just gotta... Hold on. Yeah, that's better. Right. Okay, right, so... Nice. Double drawing. Okay. Yes, I gave her a little bit more muscles than she does have in the original drawing. Because why not? It's just a good thing to do. Yeah, but with these stabilizer settings I can work very well. That looks much better already. Nice. Okay, her thumb is maybe a little bit too skinny right there. That's gonna break off as soon as she hits something with the thumb. That's better. Oh, I almost forgot she has little antenna. Right. Thank you, thank you. I mean, this is, hold on, where did my overlay go? Overlay? My overlay is gone. No, my overlay crashed. Because it's supposed to show you that this is my song and I made it myself. Alright. Yeah, will you behave now? Overlay. Thank you. Album when? Well, you know, technically it's all online and I'm just packaging the releases as tiny EPs of like 2 to 4 songs each when I release them. But you know, now I've really started getting into my synthesizers again. And like I'm connecting them up all with wires and plugging them into each other and stuff like that. And I'm making really weird alien space noises with my machines. And I really want to record those to my computer. So on Tuesday, maybe my cables will come and then I can finally record all of these beautiful synthesizer sounds to my computer and then we can make more music. And I'm really excited about that. Because these things sound so good. But there's no way for me yet to get them to the computer in a good audio quality. Basically, I would have to go through the tiny speakers in my effects unit and record that with a microphone right now. Which does not sound the same as just straight up plugging it in from the headphone jack into the microphone input. Which will sound many times better. Alright. So let's continue with the hair down here. So basically the further down it goes, the more narrow it becomes. So something like this, I suppose. Alright, I mean this part of the hair will not be visible probably because there will be, you know, her entire body in front of it. But it's just nice to know how the shape goes in general. What else? Yeah, right, now the body. the torso. And then she's got some really chunky pants, and I wanna do those justice by making them also very chunky. Draws the same line 3 times. God damn it. Alright, there we go. Now let's get rid of the obscured hair. Why is it not erasoring? Oh, I accidentally made a new layer. Hold on. Let me fix that. There we go. Okay, the stabilizer is kind of fucking up the eraser experience. Thank you, thank you. Oh, you mean like their Pokemon, Sugimori? That is high praise. God damn it, I'm not getting the eraser to properly work. There we go. Technical issues. The eraser does not like the stabilizer at all. Look how I'm trying to get rid of these lines and they just won't disappear at all. Okay, I kind of don't like how just a little bit of hair is poking out behind her legs. That is really reminiscent of the ages-old tendon problem. Where in art you kind of got to just avoid drawing things slightly touching. You either gotta fully commit and have them collide, or you have to just not draw one of the things. And I'm thinking we might be going for the just straight up collide approach here and remove these lines of hair, but make a bigger, more strong hair, like so. That's better. Alright, I think that is, hold on, let's remove the undersketch really quick. Oh, I forgot the gum. She's just, and her entire right hand, I suppose. Oh yeah, and she does have these funky bracelets. So I'm gonna also add the funky bracelets, which are holo bracelets. They can store objects as data or as a memory backup for her. Okay. Right, so let's add funky bracelets right here. Okay, let's zoom in actually and make them a little bit nicer. Dupe, 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 dupe. Oh yeah, and as always, if there are audio problems, like if the music is too loud or I'm too quiet, let me know and I will fix it post haste. Alright, I think the gun we're gonna strongly simplify. Oops, how did I do that? Okay, if I long press I get this thing. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that at all. Like, hold on, I will actually quickly show you something. Save image as pictures, that one, yes. Let me add another image layer. So this is the same picture here, except just zoomed in and better. If I find it, hold on, give me a second. There it is. Right. So this is the character that we're drawing, just in a bigger resolution here. And you gotta really take a quick look at, in particular, these shoes here. That is such a nice design. Also, Shadow the Hedgehog shoes. But yeah. In general, just this design is so nice, I had to draw it. I like this juxtaposition of, you know, skinny elements, but then really junky elements. Like these wide pants. That just looks so good with the... And these chunky bracelets as well. So you have like a relatively skinny arm and then a chunky bracelet. I think that always just looks so cool. Yeah, exactly. Also, I'm usually not a big fan of like long hair, but the way that this one is so explosive, that contrasts her skinny body very well, I think. So that just makes it look very cool. So this character design is just awesome. I just don't care much for the gun, which is what I'm needing to draw right now. So there you go. Alright. Let's get rid of that again. Yes, exactly. Exactly. I don't consider myself like a master artist by any means. Like, the drawing per se is not my strong suit, but I do know a thing or two about character design. That is where I'm honestly not bad. So I can appreciate a good character design, and this is one. I mean, also, it's always nice if your characters have really strong, recognizable silhouettes, and this one does, to be honest. Her explosive hair and her chunky pants make for such a recognizable silhouette, to be honest. Right, anyway, gun. Hold on, let me bring back the sketch layer real quick so that I know what I wanted to do with my hand here. Okay, that is the eraser. That is not good, we don't want to erase. Okay, hold on. No, the eraser is at the same delay level and everything. I don't know whether eraser struggles so hard with the stabilizer. I don't get it, frankly. But the eraser is having a really hard time with the stabilizer. Let me do it like this. Hold on. And this, and this. And then we have something like this going on. I don't know exactly. Again, we're just gonna simplify the design of this gun. Right, and then... Yeah, I mean, that would be smart. But the thing is, I'm not smart, I'm lazy. So I just don't do that. I just kind of... I used to do a lot of that as well, putting everything in different layers. Now I'm not even coloring on different layers anymore. I'd rather painstakingly avoid drawing over lines when coloring in the thing, rather than just make one extra layer. That is such petty, stupid laziness. It's insane. But that's how I am. And you know, whatever works for you works. But I will admit that it is stupid. Alright, that is enough gun for today. More than enough gun. I mean, the technology behind blending layers and multiply stuff and addition stuff and stuff like that is pretty cool, but it requires you to think differently. And I just, to be honest, think more in the color space of the finished product anyway. Like, I don't really color grade my drawings or anything. I just know exactly what colors I want right away and pick those, and I'm happy with it. Yeah, exactly. Besides, I have a really cool kind of workflow for shading. So what I will usually do, hold on, let me quickly, because I'm done with the outlines now anyway, let me get a new layer for this. What I will usually do is, if I have any particular color, let's take for example this teal green here, this Miku green. What I will usually do is shift the hue of what I'm drawing to make the shadings. So I usually go, hold on, let me hide the reference image for a second so that you can see the full color wheel here. What I will usually do is, if I want to shade something darker, I also go down to the blues and then go darker a little bit. So then I use this for the shadow, and I go towards the yellows and to the brighter parts to brighten it up. Hold on, that is not bright enough. And put it more into the yellows to brighten it up. Which looks like it's basically the same color but shaded differently, except that those are just 3 wildly different colors actually. And it's really fun to play with color in that sense. So I usually go blue for darker colors and yellow for brighter colors. Brighter shades, I should say. And just move them up and down the color wheel like that if I want to shade. And thank you very much, Hammer. Hello, how are you doing? And basically, if you go do the whole thing with multiply and addition layers and stuff like that, you kind of lose control over that exact part. And I find this very fun, to be honest, to play around with colors like that. So I'm personally thinking that if I were to use multiply and subtract and addition layers and stuff like that, it would just take away from the fun for me as well, because I like doing this and thinking about each color with purpose and stuff. No, this is, hold on, let me bring back the reference image. This is not my original character, this is the character of Satori over here. Here you can see their Blue Sky profile, or the post at least. I'm drawing their character because I really like this design. And yeah, I asked them if I could draw it on stream today and they said yes. So that's what I'm doing right now. Anyway, so now that we were talking about coloring the thing, or coloring and shading in general, let's do exactly that and shade this thing. But firstly, get rid of these colors. These are not the colors that we're gonna be using. It was just to illustrate an example. Right, we're gonna have a lot of yellows. This is a very yellowy character, so we're gonna probably make her a little bit more orange than in the original, so that I can shade more easily. Right. We're gonna make the pants probably out of this color, although it is not the same as in the image, but yes, this is Krita, yes. I like using it, to be honest. It is powerful, completely free, comes from an open source community. So it makes a lot of sense to support this, especially in these days of everything being a software subscription and costing a lot of money. The people at Linux and KDE are doing wonderful work with their software, and this is just straight up a fully featured drawing program that you get for free with some Linux distributions out of the gate. And it is just very good software as well, so it's not even bad at all. Like, it has all of the features, it has a lot of brush settings, it has pixel art brushes, which I use all the time. Yeah, I just usually don't buy software subscriptions at all. And not that I pirate anything, but if I can get it as a single purchase, that is already a big plus for me. So for example, I am a music producer myself, and on the computer I use generally digital audio workstations are similar like Photoshop and stuff. They often cost a lot or are software subscription based, but Reason you can get as a single time purchase without upgrading anymore though, so you are stuck with the version that you buy, but that is plenty. I have Reason 12, we are now at Reason 13. Krita should work if you have an Android tablet. Krita should work, and it has basically all of the brushes that you need right off the gate. Oh yeah, the asset storing clips to the paint is good. I will give you that. And you get like 3D models and stuff to pose around, and all of the backgrounds that you could ever need. You don't have that in Krita, which makes sense because this is open source software and free. They don't have the budget to run basically a web shop in the program. I think that would be way out of budget. True. I mean, you can, and any feature you want, you can just make it yourself. That's the beautiful thing about open source software. You can just make it yourself and propose it as a change to the official repository, and they might just be like, yeah, okay, let's do that. Yeah, for example. But yeah, as I was talking about Reason, let me show you real quick just how it looks like. So basically, let me quickly share my Windows desktop. Right, here you see Reason and the Reason Companion. The Reason Companion shows what kind of plugins you have available for free as well. So this is all the stuff that I get with my single time purchase of Reason, for example, and it is just straight up straight up a fully featured digital audio workstation. You get all the instruments that you want. It has VST support. You get all the effects you want, and it has VST support for that as well. You get a mixer that is by default very big on the screen, and you have this very unique feature called the rack, which is kind of where you put your instruments and connect them together, which is something that other DAWs, digital audio workstations, don't have this. Like, hold on, for example, I could get a synthesizer here and then plug it into something else, like an effect, and just by them being on top of each other, they belong together. And that visual connection, that's something that Reason is very good at. You're not gonna hear anything right now because OBS doesn't pick up any sound from this audio driver, but it was just to illustrate the point that this is also software that you can purchase a single time once, and you don't need a software subscription or anything, and you just have it forever. And compare that to the greedy companies that make, you know, very expensive continuous subscriptions, and that's kind of bad, honestly. So yeah, we have decided on a yellow. It is not the same as in this picture, mind you. I just wanted something more vibrant because I am like that. That's just me. Then we're also gonna have a pinkish red, which is just in general one of my favorite colors. So something like this for the top. Yep. Then a brown skin tone. I suppose I could just color pick it, but I think this one is pretty close. Nah, that is too saturated. Slightly more orange. Is this good? Is this good? No, this is not good. I mean, this is quite okay. I think this is good. Okay. Then dark brown hair. Let me quickly just make that swatch bigger. Then dark brown hair. So something like this. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Okay. You know what? I drew them very far apart. Let's move them closer together. And let's also think about shading colors for these. Hold on, let me deselect everything. There you go. So I think the shading color for the dark brown will just straight up be black. Hold on. Brush. Just straight up black here. For the skin color we chose this, so let me move more towards the blue and darker. So that's gonna be our shading color here. Same with the pink. Gonna move it more towards the blue and darker. Then the yellow is this. More here. More here. Okay, Okay, that is way too dark. Hold on. Probably will suffice if we take something like this. Yeah, that's good. And then we'll do a brighter color each as well. So let's start with the yellow, go slightly up here, maybe something slightly green even. And go like this. Yes. Then for this pinkish red, we go here, I think. Yeah, that looks good. Honestly, I love hue shifting for shading. That is just some magic trick that you learn once and then it just becomes part of your repertoire and it's so good. Right. And then for the hair. Well, the hair I think I want to make completely glossy. So how about we do something that's extremely bright, like this. I think those 12 colors are gonna be the colors that we need for this character. Alright, let's do it. I'm just gonna quickly get myself something to drink, so I'll be right back. Yes, sipping time. Well, I did get myself a coffee as well, because, I mean, duh. I'm only human after all. Alright, back to reality. Whoop, there goes gravity. Whoop, you won't have it. So let's do the flat colors. Let's do it under the outline layer. Whoa, that is too big of a brush. 6 point, yeah, that is too small of a brush. That is perfect. You know what? We're gonna do it a little bit different. No, we're not gonna do it different. We're gonna do it exactly like that. I was gonna try and flood fill, but I don't feel like it. I mean, we are gonna use flood fill, just not like that. Okay, honestly now I can probably deactivate the stabilizer again. Because now I'm slow and steady anyway. And it makes it easy to get the corners painted in as well. Whoops, that is outside the lines. We don't do that. Okay, we do it a little bit, I suppose. You know what? I should save. This thing does not autosave. That is one problem with Krita. It does not autosave. It does have a little bit of a retention span, kind of. It will keep some changes if you accidentally crash or something like that, but it's not very reliable. So don't depend on it. I will call her big hair .png. Actually .kra. Save. I don't want any numbers, thank you. Yeah, autosave is a very good feature to have, no doubt in my mind. So that is really good about Sketchbook, for example. That is another free drawing software on Android. But I just didn't like the brushes in Sketchbook, so therefore I switched to Krita. Well, it does a little bit of autosaving. For example, it does sometimes save your stuff before it crashes or something like that. But you don't want to rely on it, and especially if you haven't saved at all, that's just very risky. Alright, now to her shoulder. Hold on, that's still the fill tool. That would have been a bad surprise. Yeah, this is by Paint Bucket, yes. I just usually color in by drawing the outline, repainting the outline so that the shape is closed, and then filling it in. Because to be honest, I don't really do smooth shading ever anyway. I usually only do this kind of cell shading situation. So this works very well for my workflow, and it's just a quick and dirty way to get it done. Like right now, we're just gonna bucket fill this whole shape here. Then her hands. I also think that you are still not seeing quite the correct colors, because I think the HDMI output is bonking it up a little bit. I tried to color correct it as much as I could, so you're not quite seeing exactly the same colors as I'm seeing, but it is pretty close. Unfortunately, that's just one of the things that you have to deal with when you are a streamer. Sometimes you just have to deal with things not giving you the correct colors, but it used to be far worse. And to be honest, considering that I got this HDMI capture stick for very, very cheap, it does its job. So like, I'm not mad at all. It's fine. It does its job. And whatever you are seeing is good enough. It's not perfect, but good enough. Alright, now to her face. Oh yeah, and by the way, Hammer, that is absolutely valid. It makes sense to approach it like traditional painting. That being said, I like to do things the quickest way that I can so that I don't get bored with it. Because my attention span is a proper problem and gets in the way of drawing if I do things a tedious way. So I've kind of just worked out the ultimate time-saving methods of doing things. Or at least the way of doing things where they are just most fun for me, because otherwise I will just stop doing it and my projects will never get finished. So I kind of gotta do things the weird cheaty ways by using flood fills and all of those kind of things. And that's the beautiful thing about art, is there is no real wrong or right answer. And it totally makes sense to approach it like normal traditional painting. I do some traditional painting sometimes as well, so like I do acrylic painting, for example. I like that you can, the thing I don't like about watercolors, for example, like aquarelle colors, is that you only can work with a very limited color palette. And sometimes the colors just don't turn out like you expect them. And it's all just very bleachy and bright. And with acrylic colors, you get exactly what you choose. You get exactly the color that you want. You can then just modify it a little bit. You can do some blending afterwards or smudging it and stuff. But once you've put a red down and let it dry, then you can paint over it again. So like it's acrylic is just a really good medium for me as well. Yep, that is true. I think that is true, but you also just can simply not do everything with watercolors. Watercolors are just more limited, I think. And I prefer acrylics for that particular reason, because I want to be in control over my colors, you know? And don't let the boundaries of reality stop me. Anyway, I hope you get what I mean. But yes, I think what's often overlooked when people give art advice is that the only ground rule that you really need to follow is do things the way that you have fun, because that's the one thing you need in order to continue doing it. If you don't have fun and you will just end up dropping art in general, then what's the point? Yes, but the ground rule number one should be, I think, do things the way that they are fun, and then everything else. Then we can talk about, oh, fundamentals are necessary and stuff like that. But if you don't have fun doing the fundamentals, then don't do them. You know what I mean? So rule number one, have fun, is I think the most important one. Because if I'm not having fun, that is true. You can't say fundamentals without fun, yeah. But if I'm not having fun, I'm not doing it. If I get bored the drawing, then I will just drop it and not do it. So that's why I kind of must do things in slightly stupid ways, but that are still fun to me. For example, I don't know if it makes sense to draw outlines of color around the eyes and then use the flood fill bucket to color in the face. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's what's fun to me. I have fun doing this. This is like playing a little bit of a video game where you have to put the brush around the eye for some reason. Like, I'm genuinely having a good time doing this flood fill approach. And it's just super satisfying if a flood fill works and you haven't forgot any open lines or something like that. That's just super satisfying. And when the flood fill works, you're like, ah. Yes, enjoy the process, exactly. Trust the process is also important, because in the process of working on any creative subject, you might get to phases where it becomes ugly, and you just kind of gotta push through it and believe in it. You know? That happens in Minecraft building, it happens everywhere. Hello Ida, how are you doing? Yes. Good joke. Good joke. So, I mean, that takes care of all of the skin that we have for now. So now comes a difficult decision. Where's the light gonna come from? I think it's gonna be interesting if the light is coming from the right. Whoops, that is a flood fill. Stop that. Unflood fill, please. So I'm thinking we're probably gonna we're gonna transparency lock this layer. We're gonna duplicate it just in case I mess up. Then we're gonna color pick this color here. And I think it's probably the best if the light is coming from the right. So we're gonna do something like, whoops, that is too much. Something like this. No, that one is bad. Don't do that. How are you doing, Eli? Wow, that is outside the lines. Oh, we can do a little bit, a splotch of brightness on the thumb here. It's going well. We are done with the line art already, and we're just painting in the colors right now. We're drawing this character right here by Satori or Satoru, I don't know. It's a really cool looking character, and I wanted to give it a shot drawing them. Also, before, I guess, we were, hold on, open recent. We were just doodling as a warm-up this guy, just monochromously, and just as a silly practice for warming up. That's what we did at the very start. I don't know, just a silly something. But right, we just have fun here. We don't care about the rules. Fuck the police. Or something like that. That makes sense to Flatfell. Yes. Thank you, thank you. It is very appreciated. Right, now we come to shading the face. Probably the most complex part to shade, if I'm honest. One of my favorite things though in all of art is shading hair. That is just so much fun. Right, now comes the dark. So we color pick this one, and we do essentially the same thing but on the other side. For example, I think most of the hand will be shaded darkly because it's kind of facing away from the light. Like so, I think. I think that hand looks very good. Personally, hold on, we need a little bit more darkness in this bit right here. I guess it's a little bit like ambient occlusion, like what you would do in 3D modeling. Stuff that is just very obscured by itself will usually just be darker. And they call that ambient occlusion. It's basically when you have, for example, a crease or a fold in something, or some kind of concave surface. That's where you would make it darker. And it immediately gives you a little bit of a three-dimensional effect. And it's very cheap to compute that in comparison to real shadows that are cast by other objects. Whoops, yeah, no worries. Thank you for joining in. Alright, now we gotta shade a little bit of muscliness into it. Right. And this is one of those things where you have to trust the process, because right now this looks very weird, but I promise you what I'm doing makes sense. Now we flood fill this and this. Okay, we're gonna give you, whoop, that is too much. A little bit less of a sharper angle. Yeah, that's better, but this way it looks a little bit muscly, right? At least it's supposed to. Now we're gonna give her a lot of depth by making this dark part very wide. And also give her a little bit of shadow beneath her arm here. Right. Now we flood fill these. Also, we're gonna shade the bottom part here, because those trousers are essentially blocking some of the light around it. Yup. Now we get to the face again, and the first thing we do is shade everything that the hair is covering some light from. got jump scared by my phone right now. Alright, I think that looks good as far as shading the face goes. Maybe we'll add a little bit of a line over here and here to give her nose a little bit more of a shape. Alright, let's have a look at her eyes. They are yellow, basically the same yellow as the pants and the shoes and the bracelets. Yeah, she's a little bit shiny, but I think that's fine. I think in the context of when the rest of the colors are in, it will look fine, I hope. Because, you know, these things are always in reference to each other, and if the rest looks also similarly shiny, suddenly it pops out a little less, I think, personally. Alright, I think this went well. We merge this with the layer below. There we go. We have skin. The opacity, I don't know, it's probably gonna stay the same. I mean, to be honest, I'm just kind of known to have a little bit of a highly saturated preference. So that these things just look more saturated and vibrant than they would otherwise. I just really like to work with vibrant colors. I think that's just an art style thing, to be honest. I just kind of like it and therefore I do it in that kind of sense. So I think we're gonna pretty much keep it like this. I think we're gonna next move to the top, because that's kind of just the most neon-y color. And I kind of want to see how that works in conjunction. So we're gonna make a new layer right here. You know what, we're actually gonna call this layer a thing. We're gonna name the layers. This one is called skin. Done. This one is gonna be called taupe. Done. Alright. Let's get the color picker. And let's move this under the skin layer so that I can just draw like this. Oh yeah, I do love how this color is looking actually. Turns out these colors work very well together. That just looks good in my opinion. Let's fill it. There we go. And now let's shade it and see how that looks. We're gonna start with the light one again. And also let's save in the meantime. Did I forget to turn the the transparency lock again? Yes, I did. Alright, then I think that's enough for the bright stuff already. I think we're gonna go with the dark stuff now. Alright, yeah, that looks so good. Oh god, I love color palettes like this. I don't know, something just works really well about colors and using different hues to shade them. I don't know what it is, but this just looks so awesome to me. The way that the different colors play together in the top, I really like it. All right. Next part. I mean, what's pretty big is, for example, the hair. But I'm probably gonna save the hair for last, cause the hair is the best part, to be honest. It's the most fun. And then I have something to look forward to. So let's do the yellow next. Right. Yeah, essentially it's color theory, right? I did learn this somewhere from YouTube or something, where they said, don't shade with black and white. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you can still shade with black and white. It totally makes sense in some art styles. But I did learn shading with color more. And it just looks good. Oh, I'm just seeing that on the screen, the purple really doesn't look right. So you gotta imagine that the dark color for the red top is a little bit darker on my screen. You will see it in the end result anyway. It will look better. Because for some reason on your screen, the two darker red colors here look almost the same. And they don't at all on my tablet. Which is gonna be fixed when I, you know, save the file and upload it afterwards. Anyway, we're doing the pants now. And the bracelets. Here, new layer. Call it pants. Pants. Done. Oh yeah, can you believe that this song is not even uploaded to Spotify and all of those music services yet? I really gotta release this one because this one is actually really good. Yeah, I agree. And again, shading with black is totally fine in some art styles. Whoops. Undo. There you go. Also, I noticed a lot of not yet quite erased lines here that I gotta fix. There we go, fixed now. Back to the pants. Whoa, what happened here? Stay where you are, don't run away from me. And you know what time it is, bucket fill time. There we go. Hold on, let me try and fix the colors. That's in properties, I think. No, that's the stream overlays. Stream elements overlay, that's not right. Here we go. Okay, color space, default color range full. Let's go to yeah, the best one is this one, to be honest. That one makes the purple look like the most fitting. But I think we still gotta configure it a little bit. And turn down the contrast a little bit. Can we maybe... No, we can't alter it. And we gotta up the brightness a little bit to get that white back. I think this is as good as it gets in comparison to my screen. I think this is as true to my colors on the screen that we're gonna get. So we're gonna apply that, okay that, and okay that. Right. Now it should be a lot closer to the colors that I have actually on my screen. I did try to fix this once already, so I don't know why this kind of set back to the defaults kind of there, but whatever, it is what it is. All right, to the bracelets. You know what, I think we still need to do something real quick. Go back to this. and paint this in here. Hold on, turn off the alpha lock. Because I think this was supposed to also be the back hand. And it kind of makes sense to me. Alright, turn you back on, and you, and then we go back to the yellow. There we go. All right. That's, I think, all of the yellows that was. Oh no, the eyes. I forgot the eyes. The irises. Right. Let's start again with the bright and then move to the dark. I don't like that line. That was a little bit too chunky. Alright, then over here, this one goes very bright. And then the darks. Thank you, thank you. Right, then let's do the whoop, layer is locked. What do you mean? No, layer is not locked. Right, I think that's all of the yellows. And now comes the most fun part, drawing the hair. Because you can make the hair really shiny and everyone's happy. Right, go here, new layer. Hair, done. Then we pick the brown. And we just kind of outline it all. No. I'm gonna do a big bucket fill at the end of this. Whoops, I accidentally deleted my hair. Happens all the time. Things you don't wanna hear your hairdresser say. Hashtag hair deleted. Alright, now comes this long section. Almost done with this. All right. Now the moment of truth. Did I close all the lines? We will see. I did! Nice. Very nice, very nice. All right. I think this time we're gonna start from the dark and move towards the bright. So this one is just straight up black. Oops. Too swoopy. Wait, did the lock go off again? Oh, I accidentally drew on the top layer now. Right, here you go. Right, so do this one again, I suppose. Oops. Okay. Thank you. Good sleepy. Have a good sleepy. Thank you for coming. We're gonna be done soon, relatively soon anyways, which is nice, cause the stream is going on for long enough now anyways. Oof. Thank you. And we are nearing completion. Soon we just gotta draw the highlights and the details like the antenna and the gun, and then we're done. Right. Oh, there we go. That's a little bit more. Some black shading there. There we go. Save that thing for now. Then we move to the highlights. And we want to make it look so shiny. Also, we gotta really quickly unlock the transparency really quick, because these things, I said unlock, yes, here, there we go. These things are gonna be this cream white as well, the antennas. Whoops, that is too wonky. Then we turn transparency lock on again. Oh, you know what? Let's turn it off again real quick, just to fill the eyes and the mouth. Except we want to use real white for that actually, so better. Alright, back to this. There we go. Okay, these look bad. Hold on, I think we're gonna have to turn the drawing 90 degrees for a second. Just for a second to get... Whoa! No, 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 don't delete anything. Thank you very much. Just to get a little bit of that extra shine in here. And here as well. Alright, I think that's it for the hair, to be honest. No, we gotta fix a little bit more. We gotta make some more intense bright spots, I think. So like this needs to get a little bit more intense. And this here as well. And this thing here as well. Yeah, I think so. And we might do one last thing. Add a bit of genuine white in there as well. Hold on, get that all the way there. Just to make it look extra shiny. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Now we just gotta do the gun. I think it's supposed to be some kind of green, right? Yes, green and gray. Yes. Some kind of green and some kind of gray. Okay, let's just eyeball this. Do it like so. Alright, now just add a little bit of green as opposed to something like this. This looks kind of good. Some kind of sea foamy green. I'm not even gonna bother with shading the gun though, I think this looks good enough. The gun is just a secondary character, doesn't get main character treatment. And then I think we're just gonna do some kind of background color. A simple fill. I think some sky blue. Layer is locked. Okay, there you go. Unlock the layer. Layer is still locked. Yeah. Now no more. Okay, maybe a little bit more vibrant. Okay, maybe a little bit actually less vibrant now that I think of it, and more bright. Yeah, that's good. That's a good background color. And then we are gonna save this and export it and put it on Blue Sky and everything. But that is where we stop today's recording. So thank you for watching.